What do we have for Virgo? Four of Cups, Cancer energy at the foundation of the reading, Virgo. Virgo, I'm picking up an energy from you regarding a path that you may be on or that you may be contemplating traveling down. This path may look like a reflection of your past. Perhaps you've been down this path before and it didn't result in a favorable outcome. But I'm picking up this energy here where it's as if you are starting to think about taking this path again, but with a different approach. And it's as if the divine is saying to you, no, Virgo, there is another way here. You need to do what reflects your dreams and nothing less. The divine is wanting you to try something different here. Do something different. Don't do what others expect of you, and don't do things to fill a void. I just heard so clearly, don't do what you've always expected from yourself. And immediately I feel that this is speaking about you possibly being too hard on yourself, which is not allowing you to expand into a new direction. It's like you're creating your own restriction based off of an idea of somebody that you think you're supposed to be or something you think you're supposed to be doing. And one of the downloads I got prior to the reading was that if you try to be like everyone else, you'll never give way to the opportunity of becoming yourself. So instead, create a pathway to become who you were always meant to be. So in saying all this, Virgo, the divine wants you to start doing things a bit differently. Take some more chances here. Try a different direction. Don't walk over your own steps, but instead follow the footprints that your higher self has laid out before you that will take you in an entirely new direction. The focus of this reading is all about new, Virgo, nothing old. Everything must go. If it didn't work before, it's not going to work now. Just like the saying, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. There's this energy here where you're hung up on something just not working, but we have this energy coming from the divine trying to show you a different way. The divine's like, hey, we have something so much better for you, but you have to have faith. You have to trust. What do we have at the sacral, please? Devil, Capricorn energy at the sacral. It's like there's this energy that's showing up at this sacral position that's trying to get you to repeat something that you've already overcome. Just heard that you've already conquered. But this energy is compulsive. It could be something within you. This is very much an energy that I'm picking up here of somebody who has this idea of what their life should look like. But the idea that they've created for themselves surrounding what their life should look like is kind of limiting. It's like saying, okay, I want to have this house and this husband or this wife and this many kids and blah, blah, blah. But God has another plan for you. There's another path you're actually supposed to take. But because you have this idea of the life you want to live, you're not allowing the divine to actually show you something much better. Something that completely eclipses this idea of what you think your life should look like. And this isn't to say that you won't have that house or that husband or that wife or this exact amount of kids. This is just really an example. But what this is saying is that you need to have, again, more faith and allow the divine to show you a different way to getting to your destination. See, humans, by nature, restrict themselves without even realizing it. But it's not really our fault because we live inside this environment, this world that has created a standard around what happiness should look like. So a large portion of our life is spent trying to actually find our way back to what real happiness is. But this isn't the path that you're supposed to take, Virgo. The divine has something much different for you. You've been hand-selected out of the group, is what I just heard, because there's a vibrancy to your energy that the others don't have. There's something unique. There's something different about you. And your uniqueness is opening up an entirely different path for you. I just heard you need to get out of your own way, Virgo. I also feel that a lot of you are trying to do too much, take on too much as a means to fill a space or maybe make up for lost time or take the attention away from something that needs to be addressed. Virgo energy will very much start focusing on the finer details of life as a means to create an escape from having to focus on something that needs your attention. Could just be that what needs your attention right now is you. The high vibrational Virgos that I've known in my life have always done this. When something becomes overwhelming, they create more responsibility for themselves. They create more of an overwhelming energy to try and suppress the overwhelming energy. Sometimes this is effective, but there does come a time when this other area does need to be addressed, because you can only escape your problems for so long, Virgo. And it's interesting because I don't think that you look at it like this. You don't escape your problems. You're very much ready to face them head on, but you think facing your problems head on is by giving yourself more responsibility. What do we have at the solar plexus? Nine of Wands, Sag energy at the solar plexus. There's some sort of resistance to change here, Virgo, reiterating the message that I was channeling through with that Four of Cups, right? The divine is an entirely new path for you, but you're still doing math inside your head on how you can make something work that is not meant for you. But it's not that it's not meant for you in a negative way. It's not meant for you in a positive way, because you're not seeing something. You're being asked to have faith right now in the direction that you're being guided, Virgo. I think that the uncertainty of all this is what's holding you back. It's very much an energy of feeling that if you go in this direction, you've lost control, or you won't be able to control some sort of outcome, which is exactly why I feel that you're being guided to go in this direction. It's like you just want to keep going in the direction where you know what to expect. And that says it all. That is really so definitive of what a karmic cycle is, right? You just keep repeating the same pattern over and over again. Karmic cycles can be big or they can be small. You can have a karmic cycle with behavioral patterns that don't really serve your highest good. You can have karmic cycles with little food addictions, things that aren't good for you. Drinking can be a karmic cycle, smoking. But what I'm getting here for you is something regarding your life path. And what's so interesting is you've actually been asking for this. And here's the divine, right? Standing next to you. Like, hey, we're here. We're going to take you to this new cycle, Virgo. You don't need to keep fighting your way through this same karmic cycle, going down the same path. And then there you are. I wonder if the divine heard me. I wonder if God is hearing my prayers. Everything's been received. The universe is here to escort you to this new timeline. But you're so used to a certain pattern, a certain trail, a certain way of moving that even though this new beginning is staring you right in the face, you can't quite reach out and grab onto it. It's interesting because we don't have any swords on the table yet, but there's something I feel in the mind, in the communication. It's like a certain way you compute, right? This can speak about mindsets surrounding things. What do we have at the heart, please? Temperance. Sag energy at the heart. Wow. This really highlights what I said in regards to the new beginning staring right at you. It's like the divine is saying to you, all right, Virgo, go ahead and pour out that old cup. Hold your other cup up and let us fill this for you. Sag. Temperance is an energy of purpose. There's also an emphasis on self-control here. This is going to be different for all of you. It could be that limiting self-belief, which could be holding you back from this. It can certainly be behavioral patterns. So take that as it fits for your own set of circumstances. But there's something here that the divine is trying to heal from within you. The divine wants you to expand your mind. The divine wants you to break free. Virgo, I feel that a lot of you have been living inside this very kind of limiting space for most, if not all of your lives. And it can certainly be geographical. But I feel that it's something that obviously begins in your mind and then reflects on your exterior environment. It's like no matter where you go, you always feel restricted or limited. But it's something that needs to be addressed within self. It has to do with your perception. When somebody has an abundant mindset, they can find happiness, joy, and comfort in some of the most uncomfortable spaces, because they know that it's only a matter of time before what they are feeling within is reflected back to them in their environment. You know, a lot of people will create an abundant kind of environment, but it doesn't last long because that isn't how they feel inside. Money doesn't buy happiness. This is a perfect example of what I just said here. And that's a real backwards way of doing things. The divine is trying to show you a better way of doing things here, Virgo. What do we have at the throat, please? Hermit and Eight of Swords. Virgo, that is your energy there with the Hermit at the throat. Eight of Swords, Gemini energy at the third eye. This is exactly what I was feeling when I said it's something in the mind, right? This place of restriction. You're creating your own mental imprisonment based on this limiting belief. But with this Hermit at that throat chakra, we're seeing now an emphasis on trusting your inner guidance. It's like there's a conflict between your higher self and yourself, which is just you in the here and now. It goes back to what I said about you sending your prayers up, they show up for you, and then you wondering where they are, which speaks about a kind of static with your connection to source, with your higher self. You're receiving the downloads, but it's coming through in a fragmented kind of way. And the reason why I feel it's coming through in a fragmented kind of way is because there's ego there fighting with the download. That's that limiting belief. It's like the divine is saying to you, hey, we got your prayers. We need you to move like this. And you saying, oh, I don't know about that. Cherry picking what you like and what feels most comfortable to you, and then placing that comfortably within inside this limiting belief. It's like working with an alteration of the downloads that the divine is trying to give to you and creating more restriction on your path. And I'm hearing for some of you that this could have to do with somebody in your life, okay? You've been guided to get away from this person, these people, this environment, whatever it may be. But instead, you've been trying to do things to change that person or change the environment or rework something. You're just stuck in this cyclical cycle, trying to make something that is not meant to work out the way you want it to go in your favor, which is you directly going against the divine's will for your life, thus resulting in you, Eight of Swords, at the third eye, living inside an alteration of your everyday waking life. And again, I'm hearing a lot of you have prayed and asked for guidance on this, and it's come through. I'm picking up a third eye blockage. And I mean, it's so interesting here how we have this individual, right? And they have the blindfold on covering their third eye. But the Eight of Swords is an energy that's self-imposed. So you don't even need to be there. You just keep doing it yourself. Like, hold on, I can make this work. Right? Which takes us to the Nine of Wands. Just running the same cycle over and over with an energy that you need to distance yourself from. And the way you block your third eye chakra is by not listening to your higher guidance, not being able to see beyond the physical. It speaks about you having poor judgment and just lacking focus, which is why, Hermit at the throat, you needing to go inward for clarity, reconnect with the divine, recalibrate that connection. And it's so interesting that the Hermit is one of your cards, Virgo, because it really speaks about pulling you out of your shadow. Your shadow being the energy we're picking up here. See, there's two versions of every zodiac sign. There's the awakened, connected version of yourself that's listening to your higher self, which would represent, for you, the Hermit. And then there's the shadow side of your archetype, which is going to speak on the opposite of doing this, right? Which is an energy of repeating past mistakes. Now, for some of you, there are areas of your life that are not in the shadow. You are very much aligned with your higher self. But there's a couple of other things that need work. And by no means are any of us perfect. We all have something we can work on. In fact, accepting that is a incredibly positive thing that shows tremendous courage, inner strength, and character. But Virgo inside this energy is very much, no, let me just try it again. I can make it work. It's like the divine has to rip you away from something to snap you out of it, Virgo. Now, for some of you, this could really just speak about patterns you're repeating in your life as well. You start to find yourself in a really good space and everything's feeling relatively stable. And then here you are re-engaging in some sort of cyclical cycle. For some of you, it's really going to speak about relationships, right? You take a time out, you heal yourself, you're doing really good. And then all of a sudden you put yourself back out there and you go for the same old toxic kind of individual that you've just spent all this time healing from. What do we have at the crown, please? Unbelievable. 9 of Wands. Wow. In reverse. So this just followed what I said, right? Re-engaging yourself in the same old toxic energy that you just spent all this time healing from. 9 of Wands upright. Here's the divine, right? Trying to escort you to the new cycle, so to speak. Pull you out of this pattern, this karmic cycle. Out with the old, in with the new. But then at the crown, 9 of Wands in reverse. See, here's that perimeter that the divine helped you build, but in reverse, it's like you let the energy back through. You let the wolf back in. You drop your guard because you think you can handle it now. A real basic example of this, because it's something that all of you will understand. But it's very much like somebody who quits drinking for 5 years. They're in a really good place in their life. Everything is stabilized. Everything is on track. So they say to themselves, well, I'm in a really good place now. Surely I can handle a drink. So they go out, they have a drink, and then 6 months down the line, their life has completely fallen apart. They've lost everything, and they don't remember anything that happened over that course of the 6 months. It's like it was all a big blackout. It's similar to this, but that can be applied for all areas of your life. Relationships, behavioral patterns, certainly addictions. This is not easy. It takes tremendous strength and courage to break out of karmic cycles. And I say this based on my own experience. We all have a deep knowing of what it is that's holding us back. Most people go throughout their entire life without doing anything about it. But then there's some who actually are able to get the strength to break out of these patterns. Being stuck inside behavioral patterns and karmic cycles and things of the like are different forms of possession, whether it's low level or high level. When you're stuck inside a kind of pattern, alcoholism obviously is another good example of this. That's a form of demonic possession, spirits, right? Anything that is requiring you to sacrifice the quality of your life is a form of possession. And this is why we can connect demons, dark spirits, to different kinds of behavioral patterns. It's all over Scripture. 7 deadly sins, right? Each deadly sin has a demon assigned to it, which means that that particular demon that is assigned to that deadly sin is possessing you, whether it's the demon of lust, whether it's the demon of greed, and so forth. And this is just life, Virgo. Life is a battlefield, right? We're constantly fighting against a kind of resistance in our own life. That's why this Hermit's coming up, because that speaks about a kind of maintenance that is required for you at this time. I really feel like you need to take a deep breath, Virgo. Take a step back and recalibrate. Just slow down for a minute. Just evaluate where you are on your path right now and make sure that you haven't been detoured along the way. You don't even need to be a Virgo to do this. This is speaking about everybody. We live in a world that is full of distraction. I call it the Matrix. It's not really working in our favor. It's working against what the divine has willed for our life. That's why life is the way it is. We're down here for a specific reason, for a mission. So you're going to spend most, if not all of your life trying to find out what that is and then realign with what that is. But make no mistake, no matter who you are, where you are, what you do and don't have, there's a reason why you're here. And the most important thing is that you are doing everything in your power to find out what that is. Because as soon as you start setting your intention around finding out what that is, you'll be surprised at how many signs and synchronicities start showing up to tell you what that is, or enough of what that is to at least start moving in that direction. What do we have at the foundation, please? Unbelievable. Four of Cups again at the foundation of the reading. So we have it stacked. And I'm on my fourth deck of cards. I've got 3 different decks in this top row. It's like there's this energy, Virgo. This is that shadow energy that wants you to be a victim perpetually, wants you to always be consumed with apathy, right? Feeling bored with your life or unfulfilled, wants you to constantly gain and lose interest in certain things, right? This is that cyclical cycle. It's like being in a place of constantly reevaluating, right? Here you are. Why is my life like this? The divine's like, hey, we're trying to show you here why your life is like this, but we need you to break out of this cyclical way of thinking so we can show you something better. For some of you, you have some unsupportive energies around you or in your life. It's like you sharing with people that you feel unfulfilled or like you're not living up to your potential, and they just kind of say, yeah, I know, me too. There does come a time, Virgo, where you have to start understanding that the saying, the 5 closest people to you are really a reflection of who you are. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I'm also hearing could be things you're doing, behavioral patterns as well. So think about that. That can be a really frightening thought for probably most people. But it's positive in the sense where if you have a real good think about this, it can kind of scare you straight, right? Like, oh my God, I put all this time into doing that, right? It could be as small as, wow, I spent this many hours on TikTok, this many days last week. Right? When you could have been putting all that time and energy and focus into something positive that can help transform your life in a positive way. So in saying all of that, Virgo, I feel that if you can start to address what some of these things are, or for some of you, people, right? This will be an excellent place to start being able to break free of this restrictive energy, because there seems to be some sort of external influence that is making it feel all too comfortable for you to keep repeating this pattern. The illustration on this card really says it all, because it's like, here you are, right? I don't know why it doesn't work out for me. Things never change. And then there's this, weird bird here with their hand cocked back, and it's almost like they're consoling you, like, that's okay, guy, just, stay here with us. But the hand being cocked back like it's going to punch you is a metaphor for what this energy is doing to you. It's just keeping you restricted. It's keeping you in a place of bondage, right? Devil, Capricorn energy, right here. What do we have at the sacral, please? Oh, wow. Unbelievable. 9 of Pentacles, Virgo, that is your energy. Amdusius, but I read this as 9 of Pentacles in its negative polarity. So this is an energy of being taken advantage of, investing your time into spaces that don't reciprocate, which winds you up in this kind of victim energy. It's like you're sitting on all the what ifs of the past, right? There's all these things that he's sitting on, which I feel are maybe ideas or things you've tried that didn't work out. This is going back to what I said at the beginning of the reading about finding and becoming your true self, creating a pathway to who you were always meant to be, not who you think you're supposed to be, right? This is like a horse who's trying to be a unicorn here. But I feel like this is speaking about the surrounding energies, the environment, the influence. It could be limiting mindsets as well. belief systems. Usually these things work in tandem. A lot of people pick up the limiting beliefs in childhood. They're just programmed in a certain way by their parents they need to live their life a specific way, and it really doesn't serve them. And to wake up to this, this takes an act of God. It did for me, anyway. I was so deeply unsatisfied with the path that I was on, the people that were in my life, and I just found myself begging and pleading to God for a way out, that this can't be my life. This can't be it. And I was shown very clearly what I needed to do, what I needed to sacrifice in my life: behavioral patterns, addictions, people, geographical locations, material items, all sorts of things, in order to step into the timeline that the divine had actually willed for my life. And it did work. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. Now, I do understand that some people are much worse off than others. So it's going to take a lot more work for some. But the option is always there. Our life, like I said, is us trying to find our mission, our path, our purpose, so we can fulfill our destiny and do what we came here to do. But then life happens inside this matrix, and we get off our path. Some of us wander really far off path, much further than others. So there's going to be more work that's needed to be put in to get back on path. For me personally, I wandered pretty far off my path, but I don't know. I just always had this deep knowing that there was something better. I never gave up on myself, no matter how difficult things got in my life. I always had that divine tether connecting me to something. And I would like to think that everybody has that. But sadly, I know that some people's tether to the divine becomes much more frayed than others. They go too far into the darkness. But no matter what it is that you may be dealing with, Virgo, there's always a way back. And I promise you that doing the work to get back is going to be much easier in the long run than continuing into the wilderness, so to speak. Because once you're back on path and you understand what I'm saying to you here, you'll be much more mindful about allowing yourself to get off path. You'll catch yourself. Now, again, nobody's perfect, but it's all about catching yourself before you slip too far into the darkness, the wilderness. What do we have at the solar plexus, please? 10 of Cups, fur, Pisces energy at the solar plexus. For a lot of you, this is family, friends, limiting beliefs that you've picked up that are creating this restriction. It's right underneath that 9 of Wands. You needing to maintain a boundary here with whatever this energy is. See, one of the most common things that I see when working with people is dynamics having to do with their environment, people that are in their life, behavioral patterns, these limiting belief systems. This is almost 100% of usually what is holding everybody back. But it's really being emphasized here, Virgo. For a group of you, it's certainly what I said in regards to things environmentally. And then for others, it's something that's going on in the environment inside your mind, the limiting belief system inside your mind that keeps you stuck in a restricted space. And again, I'm hearing something regarding how you're spending your time, right? I always talk about life clock minutes and how we only have so many of them. And because we live inside this matrix, right, the devil's matrix, he's going to make sure that we're wasting them on absolutely nothing that has to do with what we came here to do. Because if he can get us to do that, he's got to win over us. And it's everywhere. It's all around us. Every single one of us deal with this in some capacity. Especially these days, it's impossible to escape. And again, this is why Hermit at the throat. It's time to be more selective, more mindful about where you're putting your time and energy, Virgo. Because it seems to me, based on the energy I'm picking up here, this is the area that you need to focus on in order to have some sort of breakthrough here. Again, environmental or your own, I just heard an environmental mindset, right? It's like the environment of your mind. That's quite deep, actually, because, our mind creates our reality, our environment. So it's like you need to readdress the belief systems that you hold within that create your mental environment. What do we have at the heart, please? Barbutus, which is the 10 of Pentacles, blasphemy. And Virgo, that is your energy there again. So we have Virgo, Hermit, 9 and 10 of Pentacles. But These are negative polarities. So these are essentially the energies as reversals. There's a conflict that you're having with this environment that you've created within your mindset. They're emphasizing this here. And this is just a more colorful way of saying limiting belief system, right? Which is being reiterated throughout this entire reading. For some of you, this energy here is speaking about individuals that you have in your environment that act like they have your best interest in mind. Now, when I get this card, it reminds me of a car salesman, right? They act like they're always sticking their neck out for you. I've got your best interest in mind. Virgo, just trust me. But it's like they're sharpening their arrow, right? Getting a tremendous amount of pressure in my third eye right now. Some of you are living inside an idea of what you think other people expect of you. You're missing the mark of what the divine has willed for your life. This Ten of Pentacles speaks about issues having to do with your community, your family. It also speaks about being too absorbed in the material aspects of life and you needing to get inside this hermit energy. So this is just really reiterating what we said, right? This is high vibrational Virgo energy, hermit. And in this Ten of Pentacles, this would be shadow Virgo energy, living in the material world and not connecting with spirit, your higher self, or taking the time out to listen to your inner voice and make sure that you haven't wandered off path. Really just checking in with yourself is what it comes down to. And then we have Kahethel, divine blessings, which is the Ace of Pentacles. Now we're seeing a complete turnaround in this energy because we're going from this restriction here. So these are negative polarities, demons, right? Demon, angel, and the angels are going to be the outcome. So we see here very clearly that once you break out of whatever this restricting energy represents for you, it unlocks your blessings. And it's right underneath this temperance. So pouring out the old, what doesn't serve your highest good, and allowing the divine to fill your cup brings in the blessings here. See, these energies can't go because they create energetic baggage. It's like a ship dragging an anchor, right? Some people try to take along all these energies that are restricting them in the direction of these blessings. But what they find is the blessings are perpetually outside of their grasp. It's like a mirage, an oasis in a desert. You know something's there, but you can never reach it because there's something within or something around that keeps you on a lower vibrational timeline to where you can't actually access this blessing. This is why you need to start understanding the power of frequency and vibration, Virgo, if you haven't already. Everything holds a vibration that is the result of a frequency. The frequency creates the vibration. The action creates the reaction. Everybody holds a vibration. And it's time that you start putting this into action in your own life and then watching as miracles start to unfold. These behavioral patterns, these mindsets, put you in a certain vibration. So start taking stock of the vibration that the individuals around you hold and start understanding what frequency certain behavioral patterns are emanating in your life. You know, there is a vibrational scale. I quite often refer to it. It's something that I have in my mind now so I can quickly calculate, so to speak, the vibration that something holds. Because one of the things that you have to understand about vibration, Virgo, you cannot change somebody's vibration unless there's a willingness there to do so first, right? Again, I refer to addiction because as we all know, somebody has to want to actually eradicate an addiction from their life. Because if they're forced to, they'll go right back to it. You know, another example of this is the saying about, you are the sum of the 5 closest people to you, right? Perfect. It's like you are in a room with these 5 people and say they exist on a lower vibrational timeline and you walk in after existing on a higher vibrational timeline. You're not going to raise their vibration up to yours because you have to think about all the work you put into yourself to get yourself to that space. you also had to implement the willingness that you already had to do so. So with that in mind, you have now put yourself in a space to where you can easily have your vibration lowered back down to the timeline that you've graduated on from, because you've already been there. In comparison to thinking that you're going to raise other people's vibration to a timeline that has a higher vibration that they've never been on. The only effective way you can go about trying to help somebody see the light is by finding it yourself and hoping and praying that they'll look to you for inspiration on how they can do it too. What do we have at the throat, please? 5 of Swords. Wow. Aquarius energy. Desire to know, the acquisition of wisdom. God, the highest being, A-L. This has just followed everything I said. This 5 of Swords is speaking about you ending unhealthy relationships. It's an energy of termination. And again, emphasis on the 5, right? So it's speaking about what I said in regards to you being the sum of the 5 closest people to you. Okay, I'm hearing now. What? You being the sum of what the 5 closest people to you think you should be doing in your life. So it's like individuals having a preconceived notion or an idea of who they think you should be or what they want you to be. It's like they want you to fit into their darkness is what I just heard. Wow. So this is really speaking about this devil energy here. And this is coming in at the throat, okay? So Virgo, this is telling me you go inward for some sort of clarity. You go into a place of introspection, and then you come out realizing that you need to, again, it could be environmental or it could be the environment you've created mentally speaking, okay? Which is a result of these projections anyway. So it's all really one and the same. It's just going to show up for different people in different ways. What do we have at the third eye, please? Two of Wands, Aries energy, Jalel, the helping God, love and wisdom, victory over those who would attack you. I just heard no love lost. So the Two of Wands, I mean, this is an energy of making plans for the future, right? It's like you start to put a plan in place surrounding this new direction you want to go, and then you start to see people squirm, or you start to see people's reactions, right? And whenever I get this card, it's like somebody holding their pulse, like, am I even alive? Is this real? It's like paradigm shifting. And it's underneath this 8 of Swords, so this place of restriction, right? Self-imposed restriction based on what other individuals expect from you. You break out of this space now. And this is also you seeing things from outside the fishbowl, so to speak, looking back over the path you've walked up until this very moment and realizing that you weren't seeing things from this different vantage point. This is always a trip when you step into this energy, because you start to look back over your life before you went through this kind of awakening or ascension, and you start to really see how strong this energy is. You start to see how the matrix exists in your own reality, right? The matrix just being a place of restriction, the box that the devil has created based on your own set of circumstances to keep you from aligning with your true north and path. What do we have at the crown to close out for Virgo, please? Queen of Wands, Aries, Leo, Sag energy at the crown to close out the reading, and I have the Fool on the bottom of the deck, right? So taking that leap of faith with the divine. It says right there, will and new beginnings. So I've been talking about the divine's will for your life. It says right here, assist with difficult and great undertakings. So this is you going inward, collecting the downloads, following the guidance precisely in a very methodical fashion, and then the breakthrough unfolds. The hidden God, divine power, guards against mental troubles, right? So now this is speaking about what I said in regards to your mental environment, right? The shifting of the mindset. It changes your perception around your reality, which allows you to have some sort of breakthrough without dragging this energy or this mindset like an anchor on the seabed. You let go of this heavy kind of weight. You take the power back in your life, Queen of Wands. You step into this more confident, self-assured version of yourself, just a more mastered version of yourself, and the breakthrough unfolds. Virgo, this is an incredibly deep reading that I feel will gift you with many messages that I may not have even picked up, but those are between you and the divine. But I hope my interpretation of this energy is able to provide you with enough to at least get the ball rolling. Virgo, this is the energy I have available to you, depending on where you are on this timeline, should you choose to accept. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would like a personal reading, you can find all of my contact details in the description below this video. And thank you for your donations, Virgo. Take care.